And I'm back. Another episode of Child. Listen, we're going to get right to it. But first, you can follow me on IG, Instagram at My Love, My Need Tonight. I have watched Tina this week. I just watched it again last night. I've listened to Carrie. But first, I have some things I want to say. Last week, I talked about Genius and Aretha Franklin and how horrible, how terrible I thought Cynthia and Erivo did. And okay, I think I'm saying her name wrong. Cynthia and Revo or Cynthia Erivo. I think it's Erivo. How bad she did. Um, Kind of forgotten about it, but there was some stuff I forgot to talk about. One is Duranis Pace of the Pace sisters. She was in it, and that was just like a wow moment. Like, oh my gosh, because she had just passed away, I think in December. And from what I'm putting together, they shot from this list of the list of people I'm about to talk about that was in the movie. They shot the movie in Atlanta, and Duranis lived in Atlanta, and a bunch of these people live in Atlanta, as we know, who I'm about to talk about. But she just passed away, and I believe the production of the series was paused, and as you can tell, you can definitely tell. Here I go, because I did not plan on talking about this all day long, but I feel like there's going to be a moment. You can definitely tell at the seventh and eighth episode, it's less and less people. It's less and less interaction with everybody. And you can definitely tell, oh, okay, this is where they were taping in 2020 compared to I guess 2019. And like the camera, like when Aretha did in her terrible fat suit. Child, in her terrible fat suit, they had Cynthia slash Aretha doing the Grammy thing that she did, Norma Dessa, when she sang that. It's like this giant ass spotlight. It's just like weird close ups. Oh my gosh. And then like one part, it was like a little dinner, and it was very awkward. Nobody else. It just seemed weird. They were outside. It just seemed weird. I had been listening to a bunch of Aretha. Afterwards, I was listening to Rocksteady, and I think they have like a whole Genius playlist on, or like, I guess it's an album, but I'm not sure if it's a real album, but it looks like an album. It's not a playlist of Aretha's music, like Rocksteady, and I love Rocksteady. I love her Jump to It album in the 80s. I love that album. I love, what else do I love? I love I Say a Little Prayer. I'm blanking, of course. But yeah, what was I talking about? Okay, so Duranis. It was great to see Duranis Pace on there. I don't think anybody knew that she was going to be in there, or any of these people were going to be in there. Um, but yeah, Duranis. Shout out to Duranis Pace and the Pace sisters. A very heartwarming little moment, and they like gave her moments. I don't know if this was like. I'm guessing this was like afterwards, post production. Oh, I mean, you can shoot stuff, but then you can take stuff out. But if you have it, I feel like you're gonna shoot it, and it's for a reason. But so like they gave her like moments of her just singing, or like louder than everybody else, not in a bad way, but like giving her a moment. Oh my gosh, it's just such a sweet moment. Like, wow, that was such a beautiful moment that they did for her. Because I feel like she definitely struggled the last couple of years, and even like Steve Harvey gave her a car, and she was just so elated and so happy, even to just be on his show. She was just so grateful, and she just like she sang all the time. And like one of the things Duran's Pace did that kind of went viral over the years was like her her singing like for Thanksgiving or Christmas. She just walk in the door singing, and I feel like she just sang anywhere. And it's just like a bright spirit. You kind of think about it, just a bright spirit. And I don't really know much of her work. I don't think the I think it's LaShawn Pace is who I listen to. I'm blanking on that song, but yeah, Duran is. I think she put out. She was working on an album. She put the album out. She was just working and healing and being a light. And just think about certain people are like, wow, she is a light. Next person I'm gonna talk about is T.I. T fucking I. How did we get here? I feel like every role T.I. plays is generally the same role. He played some man. I wasn't really paying attention, but I think I thought he was this dude. I thought he was the older version of this one dude that Aretha quote unquote met at a rally for like Black Lives Matter back then. Let's call it that. I'm forgetting the name of stuff. It wasn't Black Panthers, but like let's just call it. It was a movement that was going on back then. I'm forgetting like the name. It wasn't the civil rights movement, I don't think. Because I don't want to sound stupid. Because I'm not trying to. I'm forgetting. I'm just forgetting. That's the thing. So, or I'm like mistaken of certain stuff. So I thought he was playing an older version of a man, but I think he was just playing a different version, and he kind of came into Aretha's life. Whoever this man was, I don't know if he was fictional or not. Because there was one relationship they didn't talk about, which a Stan said which was more important than Ti's role. But Ti kind of made her give her confidence and give her like sort of music confidence in a sense and personal confidence. And he was allegedly there during the Amazing Grace album making. Excuse me. But T.I. just played this sort of player dude. I think in the movie T.I.'s character was married. It was weird. I wasn't sure what was actually going on with T.I. Next on the list we have is Mimi from Love and Hip Hop. Mimi Faust. Stevie J's wife. Oh, ex-wife. Wait, ex whatever. I'm forgetting. They might have not even been together. She was allegedly I'm not gonna say allegedly. She was an extra because I'm saying allegedly because I didn't see it, and I was like, wait, what are you guys talking about? I'm reading through Twitter, and I see that they're saying Mimi. Look at Mimi. Mimi, I can't believe Mimi's an extra, and I'm like, what? She was like. She was an extra in some part. I'm guessing it was some church part because I just saw some pictures and she was like dressed very churchy. So shout out to Mimi. I was just doing some reading and I just read that Mimi was in not really Lisa, in Rena, not Rena, in oh man, the Scientology lady. I'm forgetting her name. Her name isn't Rena. From King and Queens. She was the Scientology person that has been exposing Scientology for the last like 5 years. She was in that documentary that she did, and Mimi was saying that her mom, I guess, was a part of Scientology, and because Mimi wouldn't sign a contract, Mimi's mom like abandoned her, not abandoned, but exiled, didn't talk to her. I'm not gonna say it was abandoned, but it was like a specific word they used. And I was like, what? No way. First of all, you don't even hear a lot of black people talking about being in Scientology, let alone Mimi Faust from Love and Hip Hop. So I'm like, okay, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to go look into that. Then we have from Tanya Banks from the Little Women of L.A. She played a actual character who was actual somebody. I'm forgetting the name. I didn't look up the names. I'm not even gonna say I forgot. I didn't look up the names, but I did see like the person she was playing was the actual person, and I kind of love that. Like, give the different the spe- I don't know how do I say this. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but give like the so maybe casted out characters or casted out people in our world, give them actual roles to play, like make stuff make sense. And she did a really good job in that role. I was just like, I was very shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a homegirl from Little Women of LA. That's really good. But I also was looking up at her IG, and she's an actress, and she used to do stunt double. She used to do stunt work, and then I found out that she was in Tupac's California Love music video. And I'm like, what? I see. I'm not a huge rap fan, so I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. But yeah, shout out to those four people. Tanya Banks. Yeah, shout out to them, and shout out to Genius for that mess that you created. Did I have anything else to say besides thank God the last two episodes we didn't see much of the little girl? You can definitely tell the isolation, and it was like the lower cast members around each other the last two episodes, so we can tell that was during COVID. I'm trying to think. The time jump was a little crazy. The wigs weren't 100% accurate. Of course, I hated the singing. Anyways, one thing I want to say is television is weird. And television becomes racist. I don't know what I can and cannot say on Anchor or whatever without being like reprimanded. There's a word I want to say that is going to describe my next topic, and it's the N word. It's Negro Day, but you know the other word I'm talking about. It's Negro Day on TV. And one thing I noticed, all these networks have, I feel like all these networks only have black people on their show. I mean, hosting their show or being anchors on their show, whether it's news or like Bravo or like, mostly the news. You see it in the news. And then in the View, you have, okay, so like in the news, we have Robin Roberts, Michael Strahan, who just closed his gap. He showed us he closed his gap, and I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, do we really care? Was it that necessary? I don't think it was. Um, you've waited this long. Why do it now? And then it looks like he has a completely new teeth. So it doesn't even look like he has his gap closed. It just looks like he has new teeth. They have him. The Today Show. They'll use Al Roker. I don't know who's over at the Today Show now, but they'll use Al Roker. Tamron Hall used to be over at the Today Show. GMA. I already talked about GMA. And then we have CBS for. I mean Gail King for CBS. And so I was scrolling today. Shout out to Kelly Rowland, because Kelly Rowland was on The Ellen Show and she finally did Hitman. And Hitman, I believe, is like one of the NFL songs. So shout out to that. Get it a little more check for your check, Kelly. Beautiful performance. Great song, of course. You guys know I love Hitman and Crazy. I haven't listened to it since, but I really do love Hitman. Great performance, Kelly. Shout out to you. But I saw she was going to be on the Ellen Show, and this media personality, let's call him that, from Twitter, social media. His name was Kalen Allen, and I saw that he was hosting. So I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I click the link or click somebody's Twitter, and I went to their Twitter, and I saw on Twitter, child, that Angelica Ross from Pose was also going to be on the show. And I'm like, what? Ellen, are you having a Negro Day? The N word, the other N word I really want to say, but I'm not going to say that. Ellen, are you having a Negro Day? Because Kaylin Allen was guest co hosting for Ellen that day. And why do we have three Negroes on the show? It's very weird. But I really noticed this back in the day, like probably about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I really noticed Bravo. I used to love Bravo. You know, they have Sunday nights are, let's just say it, Sunday nights are dedicated to the black audience. It's weird. It makes me slightly uncomfortable to even say it because I've tweeted about it before, but like to actually think about it, you're like, I'm saying it, it makes me slightly uncomfortable, but it's dedicated to the black audience. And we have, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Married to Medicine, Real Housewives of Potomac, and I think that's the only black shows. I think Chef Roble might have been like on like a Wednesday, Thursday. What other black shows? I can't think of any other black shows. But those have been like the main staple ones. So then they'll play that, and then on Watch What Happened Live, Andy Cohen, the joke that is Andy Cohen, his show, Watch What Happens Live, he'll have two black people on there every Sunday. Whether it's a Real Housewife or a Married to Medicine person, and then a celebrity or two celebrities. It's weird. So I just wanted to like point that out. It's Negro Day on Bravo Sundays. It feels like the only black people that are on there. They're only there, like Gail. I think she did. Of course, Gail did another interview with Meghan Markle, and Gail did an interview with R. Kelly, Robin. I can't think of any like Robin or, because I haven't watched in a while, Robin or Michael Strahan, but definitely I've seen Al Roker randomly, the weatherman, talk to some black person about whatever movie's coming out or whatever. It's weird, but I just want to point that out, let you guys know what's really good. And yeah, Negro Day. Why do you guys think that? Also, let me get some feedback. This podcast is on YouTube. Leave me an IG comment. I try to put it up relatively afterwards, after everything goes through from Anchor. But yeah, leave me a comment. How do you feel about Negro Day or certain people being on these shows to only talk to black people, certain black people, them only low-key hiring black people to talk to other black people? Here we go. My savior. Now, I do remember somebody, a friend who listens, brought this up and was like, I love how you talked about, is it going to give me hood gospel or white gospel? My savior. Carrie Underwood's first gospel album. Somebody said, oh crap, I'm forgetting. Somebody tweeted, this is Carrie Underwood's, oh shit, I forgot. It was so funny, and it was so, like, they didn't say gospel, it was some other word, and it was like, is that shade? It was something funny, I'm forgetting, I'm sorry. Carrie Underwood's first gospel album is definitely giving me white gospel. But it's a Carrie Underwood, so I'm not that mad. I'm just going to give you a couple of songs that I love from it. Let's just first off say Carrie Underwood did a wonderful job. It's a beautiful album. Not 100% my cup of tea. Some of the songs, most of the songs, I'm going to say about 70% of the songs are very, well, okay, 60% of the songs are boring to me. So lots of them are slow, but I'm not gonna punch it in the head because it's a slower album. She takes time enunciating, and with it being slow, you get the feeling, you get the words. Her voice flows so well and tells the stories and tells the worshiping, and you feel it. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. Like, it's a, because she's going slow, she's slowing it down, and because she's going slow, and because that gives her time to enunciate, and you kind of feel it. You feel the passion, and you feel the worship. You feel the sincerity from her voice through the words. That you can definitely tell what she's saying. One of my favorite songs, and I think the fan favorite song, and she said it was her favorite also. An incredible moment, a spectacular moment she gave us is How Great Thou Art. Now, I said this before. She did How Great They Art. She added that on. It was a live version she did, and she added that on to her Greatest Hits album. I think not Vince Gill. It might be Vince Gill, who's playing the guitar with her as she's singing. It's a live version, and she put that on her great. Yeah, I just said that. So now we have a studio version, and baby, ooh child, if you thought she wasn't gonna deliver, if you thought she was gonna deliver, you thought wrong, completely wrong. Oh my gosh, she delivered times 1,000. She gave her soul, she gave her words, she gave her voice to this song. I mean, and she says that she's like, this song is a build-up song, and she builds it up. And then right when you think she's going to stop, she comes powering through with this high-ass note, and she holds the note. And then the production of the music the production of the song really enhances the experience and the flavor of the song. Every time I listen to that song, the studio version, every time I've listened to it, I get the same excited, exhilarating sort of praise and worship feeling. Like, I have a little moment. Like, yes, through the music, I definitely feel her connecting us to that other realm. I love it. And I think that song everybody loves too, because besides Greatest by Faithfulness, which I'm about to speak about, that song I just looked at her YouTube account, and 197, 197,000, 197, 197K is that, and that's the highest number of that, of her gospel songs from the album. The other ones are in like the 2-digit numbers. And then the second highest song was 200K with Greatest by Faithfulness with CeCe Winans. Great song. Great song. I think the song to me is missing maybe like a harmony. I think I said this already, but like maybe a harmony at the end. But oh my gosh, you can definitely with both of them, with both of the songs, you could take your time. They're taking their time with the song. They're enunciating. They are specifically hitting the notes, and you can feel the notes as they hit them. Oh my gosh, great song. Great duet. Beautiful duet. I don't know if it's a duet, but a beautiful partnership. Great. Another one I really did enjoy is The Old Rugged Cross. It has a little gangster to it, which is why I do appreciate that. I need a little hood, a little gangster to my certain songs and certain things I listen to. But overall, great Great album, Carrie. We'll see how the charts do it. I think that information will come out in like tomorrow or so. Tomorrow, no, probably Friday. Well, probably there probably should have been like a precursor to what's gonna happen. But shout out to Carrie Underwood. She's done press. She's doing a little press, and then her this Easter Sunday she has a live concert on Facebook. So let's all check that out, and hopefully she'll do "Great Is Thy Faithfulness." I mean, "How Great Thou Art." Great song, great. It, Carrie, I feel like some of the video, Carrie felt like she seemed like she was gonna like cry, talking about certain songs. And like, Carrie, just okay, we get it. You love the Lord. Calm down a little bit. Don't cry, girl. Like she just seems so passionate, and it's like I don't really know that side of Carrie Underwood about her, spiritual side. But I did see some of her and her husband did some videos about their spiritualness and their marriage and their journey. And it's like, okay, you guys are, you know, people of faith. Wonderful. So, yeah, check that out if you want to hear some good music. Okay, so here we go. Up next, when I come back, we're going to talk about Tina. Oh my gosh, I have so much to say about this documentary. When we come back, we'll get into it. Tina, Tina, Tina. Okay, so the Tina documentary came out this previous Sunday. I think it's called Tina Film or Tina the Film. Tina. That's the hashtag. The hashtag is Tina Film. I think the movie is just called Tina. I mean, the documentary is just called Tina. Beautiful. Wonderful. Heart wrenching. Exciting. Heart fulfilling. Joy. Triumph. Those are the words I'm going to say to describe my feeling of watching Tina. Beautiful. Just, oh my gosh, winsome. Wonderful. I didn't think it was going to be this amazing. I'm going to watch it again because I watched it and then I had to leave. So I came back and I was like, okay, let me watch it again, take more notes. I'm going to watch it again because, oh my gosh, what a movie, what a film. The footage. We're talking about footage from I'm how old am I? Okay, we're talking about footage from like 20 plus years ago. 20, 30, 40 years ago. Great. Okay, not even that. Okay, that's just the 80s and 90s I'm talking about. Not even to mention the 50s and 60s footage that they had that was just so clear, and it's like, where do you find this stuff? There was like footage from her doing press for her movie, Once the Love Got to Do It. Like, where do you find that from? Because I'm sure it's not on YouTube. That's what I meant to look to see if it was on YouTube. Great job to whoever produced this film. Great job to HBO for if you produced it HBO. HBO, amazing. Amazing. The poster of Tina, the like photo that they use for the documentary, beautiful. And they had these celebrities. I think they had like a sweater. I'm gonna see if I can get one. HBO, send me a sweater. Send me a hoodie. I love the picture. It's so beautiful. It's so like candid. It's like Tina. She's like blowing you a kiss, but she's about to. You see the nails, you see the hair, and then her, I think she's wearing like a white shirt or something. I love the photo. I think the HBO was sending it to like celebrities, and then celebrities are promoting the documentary. It's like, yeah, I really didn't need to do that. We're gonna watch it anyways. It's doing fucking Turner. Okay, so one of the things we see is one of the things I learned is from 1981. People magazine. Tina did her first interview talking about Ike and her marriage with Ike and the career with Ike and exposing Ike as the abuser that he was. Um, they had the actual audio, which I was like, oh wow, this is so great. And the audio, she's so raw. I mean, it's not like Tina now where she had time to like, she's, where she's had years of thinking about it and reflecting on it. It's raw. Like this happened, I'm not sure when she left. Yeah, okay. I'm sure she left like in the early 70s or late 70s. So this is 81. So this is raw. This is like, this is what I've been through. I believe she's already divorced at this point. I'm pretty sure she's already divorced at this point. It's raw. Her raw emotions, her raw feelings. She's cursing a little bit. She's giving you a perspective of her life fresh. And I loved that. One of the things they talked about, they said, Tina says she low-key didn't feel pretty. And I'm like, she didn't feel pretty or was she not white? Because, as we know, Tina has this, in certain ways, I'm kind of like, okay, Tina, do what you want because you deserve it. To be honest, Tina, you deserve whatever you want. You deserve to say whatever you say, however you feel. I'm not going to judge you so much anymore like I kind of used to when she would say certain stuff or when I read for certain stuff that she would said about white people and how she low-key connects better with the white culture, England, Paris. She lives in Switzerland. She's a citizen, actually. I had just read, preparing for this, I read the latter part of her book, My Love Story. I believe it's called. Oh, Lord. Wait, it's right here. Let me make sure. What is this book called? Yeah, My Love Story, which came out a couple of years ago. And I read about she had cancer. They didn't talk about this part in the documentary. She had cancer. Well, first she had a stroke. Then she had cancer, intestinal cancer. And at that point, she was like, I don't know. Then she had her kidneys failed. The stroke, she recovered not semi, she recovered mostly from, I think her handwriting is the only thing that's pretty much stroked out. Her cancer got renewed. I mean, not renewed. Her cancer got, what's it called? It went away, or they took all the cancer out of her intestines. And then her kidneys, she talked about her kidneys and Chinese medicine. She tried to do that and she stopped taking her high blood pressure medicine. She was just trying to fix herself without using traditional medicine, and that fucked her up. And she was like, oh my gosh, well, basically what took her off of, what messed her up was the high blood pressure. Herself taking herself off of her high blood pressure medicine. Is this thing on? Okay, sorry. Because they taking you off, you already had damage, and so the high blood pressure was so high blood pressure. Which I'm learning through her is very serious, very very serious, and because you took yourself off the medicine, it's not helping the high blood pressure. So now is doing more damage to your kidneys. So her kidneys were done. Her husband Irvin gave her a kidney, and she's doing great. Right up until this book was released, I'm just supposed to be talking about the documentary. Right up until the book was released, she was going through so much and traveling back and forth to the doctors, and I didn't know she did not know a lot of Swiss. I don't know why I keep getting Germany and Switzerland mixed up, but I think they speak German in Switzerland or something. I'm forgetting what she exactly said, but she had to learn. I didn't know she didn't know a lot of words, and I thought because she said, I was reading, anticipating, and when she said, I had to, you had to learn German or whatever to get the Swiss um, citizenship. I was like, oh, she knows a lot of Swiss. Homegirl doesn't know a lot of Swiss. She couldn't even speak to the doctors that much. And I was like, yikes, Tina, this isn't helping. You love the place. Beautiful. And HBO showed her house, the views from outside. And in the book she keeps talking about her house and how beautiful it is. And it's like, okay, Tina, we get it. But oh my gosh, they showed the Lake Zurich she lives next to, her garden. It's ethereal. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she actually lives here. Like, the stuff you really see in movies. Beautiful. Chateau Conquet, I think it's called, her house. Whatever it's called. Back to the film. But I'm just like, Tina, she says, she connects more with the white, with, European culture, and especially when her River Deep Mountain High popped off, or didn't pop off in America. And that part in the film when they show Ike talking about that and how it's not a Negro song and it's not a show song and this song wasn't gonna do well over here, blah 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 blah. Tina's literally like side eyeing the fuck out of him, like, this Negro. I wish I could just, but I'm not around. I'm around people. Child, that was funny. She Well, and then she went, okay, well, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but when her career, when she redid her, introduced, she said it was an introduction to herself. But when her career had a revamp with What's Love Got to Do with It, and that era, after that era, Europe really connected and accepted Tina Turner. So it's like, okay, Tina, go to Europe, be happy, whatever. But I'm just saying, she's saying she didn't feel pretty. Tina was not an ugly kid. Tina is not an ugly woman. And I think even with her age, because she was black and like Tina was like 50 when or like late 40s when What's Love Got to Do with It, I feel like her beauty and her preservation of her body and all of that, her blackness really played a part in. I feel like that could have played a part. Like, if she was some, frumpadump-ish woman, who knows where her career could have turned. But she had a resurgence, I think, because of that. But like she said, I'm like, she didn't feel pretty. I'm like, it was prettier because you didn't feel white. Because they had did a little white thing with that in the documentary. Patti LaBelle syndrome. I feel like she had that. Patti worked many, many, many years. So did LaBelle. Worked many, many, many years. Packed out concerts. To this day, Patti, she's done what she's done. In terms of, music at this point. Or like, probably hits at this point. But like Patti, at that time, Ike and Tina, they didn't have a hit necessarily. They had these great songs, but their performance value and the performance they put on really packed shows and kept them working because of their talent. Talent. It's not because of a hit. It's because of talent. What does it say? Oh, they were talking about, okay, so she talked about, one thing I was confused about was the first time Ike hit her, and she was like, yeah, he hit me with a shoe stretcher, and she like, it wasn't clear. She kind of like made like a run-on sentence in a way, and it was like, she said she was pregnant, and then she was like, yeah, Ike, the first time he hit me was with a shoe stretcher because I said I didn't want to go out on the road because I was pregnant, and he told me this is the way it's going to be. And then he hit me with a shoe stretcher. I'm like condensing. And then he raped her. So I'm like, was she pregnant? I didn't, because I've never heard her say she was pregnant during this time. that he hit her first. Well, I always heard, he hit her with a shoe stretcher, and then um, he, forced himself to have sex with, or forced her to have sex with him, which I'm taking now as basically raped her. And she was disgusted, and I didn't know she was pregnant at that time. Okay, let me know if you got that. Okay, so this was such a eye-opening and such a weird moment when she talked about leaving, or when she talked about Phil Spector wanting to do a song with her. It was her first time being away from Ike, and Ike had this way, she says, of like producing and singing music. Oh, the body of the boy. I meant to say this is our main course. The main course this week is the film Tina, Miss Tina Turner. Um, Ike wanted her just to sing the song raw and give it all she got, and gravelly, and Horace, sing it out, just sing it. And Phil Spector said, Tina, I want you to sing the melody of the song, fucker. And Tina said she found that there was freedom in singing the melody. Now, as we know, singing a melody is very strict. Singing a melody is a certain way. There's a certain way of singing, and it's sort of contradictory what she's saying. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying this is the way that a melody works. You sing a melody, and it's a certain way. It's formatted. It's blueprinted for you to sing. And she found freedom as that, and freedom in that. She wanted to branch out. She didn't know. They said in the film, she didn't know that she had other dreams with the music, other aspirations, other moments, other peaks to climb with music. She was growing as an artist and didn't know it. And River Deep, Mountain High, um, solidified that for her. It really did. Okay, so here's a little moment. Here's a little insight into my life. The movie was kind of triggering. After that River Deep, Mountain High part, they talked about her abuse, and I didn't know it was going to be such a triggering moment. One moment they talked about was Craig, one of her sons. He talked about, well, he's no longer here. He passed away, or he committed suicide. But they had some footage from 2000 that he did when he did an interview, and he was like, and I realized, oh, Craig isn't Ike's father. I mean, Ike's son. Ike isn't Craig's father. So you already know this, and then you see there's this dynamic, and he said my mother, and once you hear that, once that's not his father, you're like, oh, he's really taking this personal. Not in a bad way, but he was like, I remember one time oh my gosh, I'm trying not to cry. He got mad with my mom, and he splashed hot coffee in her face. And she went in the room, and she was crying, and he was out the door, and he was like, Mom, are you okay? And she's like, Craig, I'm fine. It's okay. I'm okay. And that kind of brought up a little triggeration, because I did grow up for a short period of time experiencing, I say a short period because it did end, the domestic abuse. I grew up, in a domestic abusive home, and I didn't think it was gonna be. I didn't think anything of it. It's just, it was very triggering, and like, oh wow, like something about it like really connected. And then, I'm thinking like all these moments where, it happened. Um, but to grow up in a domestic abusive house is very, me personally, I didn't think about it until I'm older. Now I'm like an adult and I'm like, oh wow, some fucked up shit actually went down and some scary moments actually happened. Crazy moments, like one on like the highway, and then this specific moment that was really crazy that I thought about. But it was very triggering. So then we have um Tina leaving. And for some reason this time, with I think it was like the music, and she was correcting herself a little bit because she's like, I've been telling the story, but I'm thinking, oh, that's not really how it was, like it was such a emotional moment for me because I'm like, damn, Tina, you did it. You left. And it was like the music was playing a little bit of they had a little sound effect in there every now and then with the horn when she's like, I we fought in the limousine, we went to the hotel room, and I said I had to leave. I massaged him to sleep. I grabbed my little bag and I ran out the door. Ran across, she didn't say across the street, it wasn't like a highway, but she said I went through like this back alley into like this other hotel, and like with the music and everything, like I said, it was just like such an emotional moment. Like, yes, Tina, you did it, and you finally are free. And then also one of the things I did find that was hilarious, that she talked about respect. She was singing Aretha Franklin's Respect at one of the concerts with Ike, when she was still with Ike, and she's like, men want to do what they want to do. Men can do whatever they want and be accepted, but we as women, we want respect. And I'm just like cracking up. Like, girl, no, you are not doing this. I know I turn the stage and he just back there playing the bass. Like, it ain't shit. But she was like, one of the things that I was really revealing, and I think carries Tina in her life today, is once she found Buddhism, chanting, finding inner peace, finding the strength, she was done with Ike. Once she found that and it prospered in her life, it wasn't when she left, it was before she left. She was done with Ike. She was done taking his bullshit. She was done taking his beatings. She was done with Ike. And I think afterwards she found peace. Because somebody said today, and I had read a tweet, and I like, it's kind of embarrassing the amount of things that I can put together and that I see and that I've become obsessed. Like when I become obsessed with something, I read about it, I look up into it, I look at all like for a moment ago, you look at a nice amount of Tina Turner interviews, you see her talking about the same things, and I feel like when she left Ike, that's when she really found happiness. Because somebody was like, I hope Tina, heals herself from Ike and whatever in this last, quarter of her life. And I'm like, no, I think Tina's been happy way after, way before now, at least in the 90s, if not the 80s. Because mid 80s is when her career resurged, and money was a big issue after like I have on here, Tina hustled after Ike. She was doing TV shows. She had, for some weird reason, all the debt that Ike and Tina collected because they weren't doing music anymore or shows anymore, all that debt fell on Tina. So Tina was not only rebuilding herself personally up, she was rebuilding her career up. She was hustling, doing TV shows. She was doing a bunch of albums that didn't sell. Here we go, another with the Patti LaBelle syndrome. And one thing I did. Okay, wait, let me stay focused. I'll get back to that in a second. Um, I even forgot what I was talking about. Child, here goes my mind. But oh, her happiness. So like, like I was saying, yeah, she was like doing all these things to bring her career up. And I think after the 80s, like I said, with her career resurged. Not even research, because I want to say what she said. She said it was an introduction of Tina to the world, and she won Grammys and started selling out stadiums, becoming a historian. Like Tina's the only woman; she's the biggest selling ticket holder in the world, male, female, black or white. So I feel like in the '80s, and then she found love again. But I feel like in the '80s, definitely in the '90s, Tina's been happy. She's retired a couple of times. This time, I believe now she's really retired. I'll talk about that in a second because I had feelings about that. After watching this, I don't have that much of a strong feeling about it anymore. Um, but I feel like she's been happy, and as a person that has put two and two together, I do feel like Tina does is happy. She's doing what she wants to do, which is retired, and let's stop making crazy narratives. Like Tina isn't happy, or Tina, yeah, she's going through, yeah, she has stuff she probably is working on as far as like healing, but I feel like she's definitely in a good space and a good place with her life at this part. Like I said, she hustled. She struggled to get a label. She was an older black woman. They were confused about where's Ike? What are you doing? Um, at that point, she was doing like this is like the late '70s, and I looked at it and I was saying, there's tons of these legends that didn't hit it right out of the park with their first album, second album. It took them a plethora of albums. Patti LaBelle. Patty, she had a couple of hits every now and then through the '70s, but the '80s is where it really popped off for Patty with Winter and You, and then that was like the late '80s. And then the '90s, Patty really resurged. Diana Ross, she went through so many albums until she had sort of these staple hits like The Boss and I'm Coming Out. Those are like the '70s. I mean, the late '70s, late '80s, mid '80s. At that point, she had put out a couple of plethora of albums. And we know Aretha, she was spotty with her albums. Aretha only has two number one hits. So it's like, what's really good out here in these streets? But Tina, she put out a plethora of albums in the '70s, and then it wasn't until like '84, '85 where What's Love Got to Do With It came out. And can you believe that the label CEO, whatever you call it, I'm forgetting the name, president of the label, he called her old nigger douchebag to her Roger Davey. Shout out to Roger Davey. They really built Tina's career. Built it. He was her manager for 20, I think it was like 19 years. They sat there and built that shit and it blew the fuck up in the best possible way. Shout out to Roger Davey, her manager. But he told the president told Roger, you sign or whoever, I forget, but whoever the person was talking to. He was like, you signed this nigger douchebag. And it's like, chill out. This is the racism, the sexism, the craziness that really went on back then. Tina couldn't get away from Ike. Tina sat there and sold out arenas, stadiums, sold plenty o records, and couldn't get away from Ike from the media. The media, oh well, did you know that Ike did this and that? And she's like, girl, I just sold out a stadium with 60,000 people. You want to talk about Ike? Get the fuck out of here. And I would be like, get the fuck out of here. And then the little beef footage they had of her talking about dodging questions of Ike, it was so fucking hilarious. Please watch this film. It's really great. She also felt like, she was held back. Like I said, the amount of albums that she had to do. before she had a hit. She felt like she was held back because of her voice, and she was a black woman. Her voice, wasn't her voice isn't a typical voice. She says she doesn't like the men, but I don't know. It's a rock and roll. It's a really good voice. It's a good voice. She kills it. She said like I said, she had this white thing. She said she had to move to England, and like I said, England, Europe, they really accepted Tina more than America did. And it's like, okay, I get it. Go on to England. But she said she moved to England, and she didn't have any friends here because of Ike. Her children were all grown. She had to make a decision, and her decision was to go to happiness and go focus on your career. And she said she needed all of her brain to map out her life. Map out her life. Ooh, that's a quote right there. She needed everything to map out her life. And okay, so one of the things I realized, well, I didn't realize, was she wrote her first book, I, Tina, in the late 80s. She wrote that to um, get away from the Ike narrative, which the Ike narrative now is a part of her life. But she wrote that to get away from Ike. And she wrote it so people would stop asking and talking about Ike to her, because she was like, I'm getting depressed. They keep talking about Ike, and it's like, I'm happy. I was happy after I left him. I'm happy now. I have forgiven Ike. I don't even think about Ike. I don't know if this is real or not, but I do remember when Ike Turner died in like 2007 or something. Tina said, they asked Tina, Ike just died. Do you have a comment or anything? And she said, I don't know if this is true or not. This is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. Tina said, call me when you get some real news. How fucking hilarious. Um, so yeah, and then she talked about the book, and they had audio of, um, what's his name? Not Roger Davy. The man that, um, the man that, Kurt Loda. Look at my memory popping through. They had audio of her talking to him, and she again was she was very raw, and she wanted to get away from Mike. She hasn't seen What's Love Got to Do with It, probably because the movie's not really much based. I think it's very theatrical and not 100% based on the book, and then partly because she's like, I lived through it. It's embarrassing. I've lived through it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to really talk about it anymore. But I do want to say this thing about what she says. Oops. So eventually the movie became, or her life became, a Broadway play. And she talks about, I want to give this little excerpt I read about her trying to convey to Adrian, who played her on the Broadway play, about her, how to portray Tina. Becoming Tina involves more than putting on a wig, a short skirt, and high heels. Although the right costumes help, first of all, I told her, you have to realize that everyone will be a bit picky about you being Tina. We get it, yes. True. I love Tina's connection and clarity and understanding about the public. And then she goes on and talks about her relationship with her fans. And also, everybody, you're playing a big role, a big figure, a life, a very prominent person in our culture. Everybody is going to be snappy, have their own thoughts. My fans sat there for every tour, every show. They know every move I made as ever well as I do. So don't just mimic me. Learn. But you don't have to be a little bit, you have to be a little bit of yourself and step into her shoes and become it totally. Adrian, I had to find her Adrian had to find her inner Tina. I could tell I could tell her what I was feeling at different moments in my life, give her tips about phrasing and hitting the right notes, show her how to shake her hips from side to side instead of front to back, and demonstrate the intricacies of the pony. But the most important lesson I could teach her always was her to always think about her audience, to concentrate on what they're feeling. When you look out and you see the audience is really into you and they're having a good time, you have to hold onto that feeling. Let it motivate you to be a good Tina. I told her she had to take her enthusiasm and give it right back to them, like a gift. My strongest love affair has been with my audience. Beautiful. 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 I have nothing more to say but beautiful. Um, PTSD. Her husband said that, she has dreams. She lived it. I think maybe we all do have PTSD when we've been in dramatic and traumatic domestic situations. We all do have PTSD. I know I have a certain form of PTSD. I notice, oh, I moved this way because of that, or I think this way because of that. But her PTSD, she's explained it as, I'm constantly talking about it, and the brain says, "Oh, you want to talk about it? Oh, okay. Here's this memory. Here's that memory. Here's this feeling. Here's that feeling." And she's just like, you know what? Y'all niggas are exhausting, so I'm gonna move to Switzerland, and I'm gonna shut the door, and I'm gonna have my glass of wine. But yeah, she had PTSD, or she has PTSD of it, and all of that saying all of that, and ending on this note for my main course, the film segment of my podcast. Saying all of that, I definitely had, it was very heartbreaking, scary in a way to see Tina say, "This is my goodbye." Because she's like, "How do I say goodbye? I'm just going to bow out and disappear from sort of the public." And it's like, not every celebrity has that option, or has had that option to live this long. She's 81, live this long and still have control of your life. And to say, you know what? I've worked so hard to the point where I don't even like it anymore. From what I got from the book and interviews, Tina doesn't even listen to a lot of music. One interview was like, "How has the stroke affected your voice?" As if Tina, is still doing, hundreds of concerts every year. But she's like, "The voice? I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's still there. I don't know." Like, Tina is retired. Tina is done. And I was like, "No, Tina, don't say that. Don't say this is the end." But now I'm like, you know what, Tina? You've been through cancer. You've been through kidney failure. You've been through Ike fucking Turner. You've had to rebuild your life. You've had to work all over again. When people are at that age where they're like, "Okay, I'm done working," you had to get back out there and work. Hustle. Tina, you deserve to live in Europe, be a citizen of the Switzerland, and be peaceful at this point in your life with your husband, who has brought you happiness. And oh my gosh, the way she would talk about Erin, she just got so like giddy. And this is Tina now. This was like 2 years ago. They shot her parts. she was like giddy and excited, and you can still see she has such a passionate and love for him. And it's just like, yes, Tina, this is amazing. That's what I said. This is such an amazing film. Go watch it. It's on HBO. Shout out to them. Great job. I want to thank you so much for listening. Give me your thoughts on the film. Give me your thoughts on Genius. Give me your thoughts on the Clark Sisters album. All the stuff I've reviewed. Give me your thoughts on My Savior. Leave me a comment. Listen next week. I'll be back to talk about more stuff. My Instagram is my love, my need tonight. Shout out to you for listening. Thank you so much, and be back next week.